Hi. Okay, I want to show you how to create a shaggy, curly, but she still has kind of short hair. We're going to take all of this weight out and create a much more fun look, a little bit more modern and funky vibe. She's a little bit more boho, and this is grown out. She's been sheltering in place and she needs her hair done like hella bad. So we're gonna kind of get in and I'm gonna show you how to section it so we can create that look where she's really cute and short and round and open her face up completely. We're not gonna touch the length. Internally, we're really gonna bring this up and expose more of her eye and her cheekbone, but still have those really great curls. We're gonna take it pretty short on top. It's gonna be pretty bouncy. And here we go. I'm gonna kind of first go in and just section it out, and then I'll explain why I sectioned a certain way. All right, I just sectioned her into one section in the back, two on each sides, and the mohawk section. The mohawk I take from the parietal ridge all the way to her hairline on both sides, recession. High recession, low recession, it's up to you where you want her bangs to live. She has very curly hair, so we're going to be really disconnecting this whole front piece. I will have this top section is actually sectioned into three. So when I take it out, I have 1, 2, and 3, which is where we're going to be doing our first cuts. We're gonna be working from the front. The sides, we have sectioned the hair right in front of the ear, coming from this point down, because I want there to be length along the front of her face. I want to see this length. I don't want to be complete mullet where this is super short and then it's only action in the back. I actually want that length in front of the ear to live there because I'm going to take all of this short. I want to maintain as much length as possible because this is going to get real short. All right. So we put the top section, which is a deep V section. We've put it into 3 parts for now. We might take some more micro sections as we go, but I find it a little bit easier to start with, to lay it out fairly close to how we're going to be cutting, so it makes our cutting process that much faster. And I just want to make sure I've got them equal here in the front. That feels pretty good. And I'll be taking my first section, is going to be a very slim section right around the face. And I'm going to be kind of playing with it. Now my girl's got really curly hair, and I'm going to make very short bangs. My first cut's gonna be pretty short. Now what you wanna do is pick out where you want your longest piece and where you want your shortest piece so you can map out where you're gonna cut. And I like to always cut it right down the center because this look is gonna be wearing bangs going forward. So she's gonna be shorter bangs, and then all of her hair is gonna be living in this zone here. Now, I might use different pairs of scissors than this on a real person, but my doll hair doesn't like most of my scissors. So I'm gonna use my pair I don't use as often. And I'm gonna take my first cut, pretty short. She wants to be right on eyebrow. I'm just gonna kind of play with it a little bit here. And I'm gonna take a baby triangle right through the center. I like to work in triangles when I'm cutting bangs because you can kind of see where it's going to live because that hair kind of expands. And I'm going to take a tiny little piece here and we're just going to kind of go straight in. I'm going to let it be natural, and I'm going to take my first cut. And then I'm going to come in the other direction, slight angle, and take my second cut. I think this is too thick of hair, so I'm just going to slim it down a little bit, right there in the front. So I'm not working with too much hair. I'm gonna see where that's gonna live. Now we have our guide right in here. Is our short piece, and I'm going to take it to about end of the eye. So here to about here. And I'm not gonna use any tension here because she's got curly hair and her hair is gonna jump. If I use a lot of tension and I cut there, it'll be even shorter. So I'm just gonna loosely cut her bangs. I'm gonna pull my hand up and just kind of see where they live. I'm gonna come in internally, just every so lightly do this to take a little weight out of the edges. So wherever you put that first cut in a curl, there'll be density and then it'll soften. So I'll mindfully think, I don't want to go any higher than this from where my weight to start. So that will have the weight up high, but the ends will be softer. So I don't want to cut too high when I'm sliding through baby cuts here. Not taking too much length, but taking the weight out. We're gonna come to the other side. Same thing. Take my next section. Now this hair lives back a little farther on the face. And I'm not gonna keep going straight. I'm actually gonna start to angle a little bit more. And I'm going to be coming down in a different technique. I'm gonna be coming down from the top because I wanna take weight out, because a lot of this hair in this style is gonna be living on the face. It's gonna be kind of coming forward. So when I take my scissors and I cut forward down in front of the face, I'm gonna pinch it where I want the length to be, and then I'm gonna not cut any deeper than here for where I start to start cutting gently as I take the weight out, and then as my last snip. So I'm gonna hold it here, start slowly cutting, and then know where my length will live. My length is gonna live right there. So I'm taking another little parallel there. I want a little longer. Remember, don't cut above where you want the weight to be. The weight will live mid-forehead, and from mid-forehead down, I want softness on the edges. Now this will take the weight out, maintaining some length and some texture, and create softness on the edge. And then when I come down this direction, it's almost like elevating the hair, right? So it'll be a little shorter from the top and a little longer on the bottom. So this hair won't feel so heavy. It won't be like a heavy bang. See, mid forehead. Like this one. Let's just tweak that a little bit. Again. Staying balanced. Kind of getting a little longer as I come to the side of her bangs because I don't want it to be too square. I want it to start to create a little dip to frame her face as we bring more sections down. She's not looking like much yet, but just wait. Now we've only skimmed a little bit of her hair. She hasn't even gotten her full bang in there. Whoops. I'm not doing those sides yet. Those sides can stay over there. Now, my next section is actually, it's going to be a little longer because I want it to bounce up, but I'm gonna take a little bit more weight out of it. So I'm gonna kind of figure out how much longer do I want it. I'm gonna drop it down about 1/2 inch. And same thing, same spot for the last, where I start to cut mid forehead. Again, mid forehead down. Almost like a sliding motion, but we're as we go. If we just yank on the hair, we may as well just be using a razor to cut the hair, not a scissor. And I'm creating a little face shape as I do that. But see, there's shorter pieces with the longer pieces. So when those curls form, they will not have so much weight and they'll be a little bit bouncier. Take 1/2 inch sections at a time. As you can see, she's starting to come together here. All right, I'm gonna take another 1/2 inch section from behind and bring it forward. Now this hair starts to live on the side. It doesn't live forward. It doesn't live all the way forward. We can force it, but it naturally just wants to part a little bit in the center. So then I'm gonna visually see where does that wanna live, and that's where my section's going to be. Creating more of an angle here. Now she's starting to have that V shape that we were talking about, where it's kind of higher in the center, longer along the face. The right side's a little longer, so I'm just gonna kind of come in and carve out a little bit more of that curl, so it wants to kind of jump a little bit higher. And then again, we'll take our next section from the back. There's the natural part. I'm going to be taking kind of the same. I'm going to elevate it up this time. So instead of bringing this all the way down to cut it, now I've elevated, but I'm elevating from, I'm not pulling it straight in front of her eye. I'm seeing where it's going to fall and live, which is, since there's a part, it's kind of coming to the side. Now it's starting to get a little heavy here, so I'm going to come in and don't want to go too close. I want to be right about an inch or so, inch and a half away from where I want the ends to be. This is where I want to just soften this part up. I don't want to go internally too deep and take out too much. Because if I start too low, by the time I chisel my way out, there won't be much length left. We want to maintain the length. We just want to take some of the weight out of it so she gets that pop. See, now she's starting to really pop. You can kind of see this angle coming here. There's a weight line, but her curls are living up here. So remember, we want to really open up her face. Same thing on this side. Remember, we're elevating up. We're visually seeing our guide. Our guide's about here. So when I pull it straight out, I can cut and take weight out right to my guide and cut that length. Curly hair is a lot of free forming, being mindful of what you're doing, having intention. Everything I do has intention. Why did I do it? Because there's an intention for it. I took the weight out. I want to leave this line here, but I don't want it to be heavy. I want it to be bouncy. Now remember, we have a clear path here. We have not gone past that part of her head. So we haven't even touched this area. So it looks like there's all this going on, but it's literally just this little triangle of bang. And if you want to check it, you can kind of pull it up and see. Okay, there's a little bit there. Not quite done yet. About one more section to go. You can see, bringing this forward. Now this hair is going to live a little bit more to the side. So I want to go in with it more to the side, and I'm going to take that weight. There might not be much even to cut at this point. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it's not much. I'm just actually going to take some of the weight out of those ends there, because lengthwise, it doesn't even fit. I know at this point you're thinking, okay, what is this going to look like? Okay. Measure the top. Yep, it's pretty even. I'm just going to take some weight out of the edges. So I'm kind of visually going in and seeing like that is really heavy to me. So I want to scoop out the edge. I want to come in, moving my scissor intentionally to create softness. And now it's a soft piece. Now think, if she wears her hair back, she's got all of this curl happening because it lives in this zone. She can still pull her hair back, and all this cute short stuff happening in the very front. Okay, now we're gonna work on the right side. What we've clipped out here. And I like to do parallel sections again, where I'm taking about an inch deep, inch deep section, pin the breast back, bring this forward. So now we've dropped out that side hair. So this hair is the hair that lives, it doesn't give her the length because we've still left out what is here, but this is the side of her head. So we're gonna connect this front piece to the side. This is where she has a lot of bulk here. So I'm gonna be pretty aggressive and I'm gonna visually put in a line. So I'm gonna use my shortest piece and I wanna see, we could do all the same length. So it's like super rock and roll. So there's a really big drop into what we've left out. We can kind of figure out where on the face we want that hair to live. Where is that going to live the longest chin length? I think it's gonna be super cute that we do just low ear. So that's gonna be about where I want this to fall. So you can do the cheater way and be like, that's a low ear. And you can just go cut straight across. And now we know we have to connect this piece here. I'm gonna bring it forward, elevate, again, take the weight out while I'm taking that corner out, soften it up. Now she's got this really cute fringe on the face. So now when she wears her hair in a ponytail, she's like really going on. So we're gonna do that to the other side as well. I like to work consistently, and sometimes if we do one whole side, we have forgotten what we've just done and we're trying to match it to the other side. So especially when we're working on the face, I think to me it's really important to be very leveled. If I'm doing the right side, let's do the left so we don't get too far back into our haircut and then you kind of forgot where you were, because that can happen sometimes, especially in a big transformation. So really want to make sure that I clip out the hair we're not touching, which is the hair right on the ear. Again, we'll take an inch wide section here, just like the other side. Same thing. Remember, we said low ear, so let it fall natural. I'm gonna kind of come here, yep, low ear. I'm gonna just go for it, chop it. Now I know I need to connect this to here gracefully. So I'm just kind of taking that corner out while I take some weight out of it. This is gonna really open her face up. So now we could really see her face, right? I feel like this is just a little bit heavy. This is where you gotta go in and visualize where it needs to come out. It's just too heavy. I don't want her to have this like chunk. Like, I don't want it to feel too chunky. I want it to feel very wispy and soft and light. Remember, slowly move your blade up and down, baby. Now she did have like a haircut and this has been styled curly with a big part, so I might have to wet her down to get rid of that little part right in the hard center. Okay, so we're gonna take the next inch section. I'm gonna go back to the left side and I'm gonna come to the left and the right side and just section out. So I'm working balance at the same time. I'm doing left and right simultaneously at this point. As you can see, she's getting real wild here, right? Same thing. If you want to elevate and cut, you're going to create more opening on the face. Or you could pull it straight down, it can be a little heavier. I think it's gonna be super cute. We're gonna elevate so it can really pop off her face. So I'm gonna visually see where her guide is. So here's the hair we're cutting, there's the guide. And I'm just gonna kind of pinch it right where it is, it's curly hair, and I'm going to know where I will, that's the end, so I won't cut past my finger. Again, kind of be using that same guideline of where the weight distribution should be. I wouldn't cut any higher than that. So I'm gonna start there, turn my scissors all the way down to my finger, and I'll do my last section here, same thing, softness. Don't wanna go super hard, I kinda wanna see where it lives first before I pinch the hair. And I see a little bit of weight here. I'm just gonna separate in between and just take a tiny bit of weight. See that cute little separation that's starting to form? Now, the deeper you kind of take your weight out and whatever you leave behind is gonna be skinnier, and that's what creates that separation. This is really coming together. Now let's work on this side. Now again, same thing. This is what we're cutting. This is her guide. Oh, and her, before I get in here, I'm just gonna scoop out a tiny bit more here. Let's create a little bit more separation like the other side. Again, I'm not taking the length, just taking the weight out of it. Soften up that edge. Come in. Slowly cut, almost like a C shape, maintaining the length. But now it just broke up that line. Let's see, I'm gonna look right here. There's this one little piece here. Just gonna come in a little higher and just, see that? Okay, so now when we bring this next section down, visually see where our guide is, let it fall. Okay, separate, we can only cut a little bit at a time. Pinch, I'm gonna elevate. Not gonna go any deeper than here. Trim down to my fingers, nice soft edge. Take my next section, visually see where I want it, pinch it. Really creating that beautiful separation on the face. Not done yet, we're falling around the face. Sorry, my angles might be a little off. Trying to get you a good visual here. Again, some more. And our last section here. Now look how cute this is. I think I want a little bit more pop. I know she's got a lot of hair on the sides here, so I'm just gonna make sure I take enough weight out from the mid to end along her face, so she gets all that pop that she needs to have this really cute, trendy fringe with curly hair. I want to visually see, like, is it heavy? That feels pretty heavy, right? So watch, I'm gonna come in, slowly move up to my fingers, drop it out. And now it's got a soft edge to it. So when I piece it together with those curls, because I really like curls to like piece together, it's not so blunt and bold. So now she's feeling super balanced. And we have another section. All right, so we just sectioned another section. As you can see, this is the hair that is still this top portion. We have not started cutting what we've got sectioned out yet. Not touching that yet. Same thing on this side. Still not touching this. This is all tucked back. We're only working on that top section of the hair, not the sides. All right, so same thing. We're gonna bounce it forward, see where it lives. This hair now lives on the side. So again, we're gonna elevate. We're not gonna be pulling forward. We're gonna elevate. We're gonna need our visuals here, our visual guide. All right, so we just took this last section here. Again, we pull it forward. We see how much we need to cut. We're gonna elevate straight off with the hair because we want to create lightness and give that rock and roll haircut. And still knowing where our guide is visually, but now she's kind of getting slightly layered here on the sides because we're pulling it straight out. Because this hair lives here on the side, it doesn't live here in the very front. So when it kind of falls back to its natural position, we've lightened it up. We want to go through, it's all feeling pretty balanced, except this is just slightly heavy. Again, if she wears a little ponytail, like she's got like a whole hairdo happening here. All right, let's take this last section. We'll start to run out of hair, and then I'll show you how we connect. Just a few little strands. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna unclip all of our clips. I'm gonna shake our hair out. That rock and roll shape is really coming in, see? Because we cut all of this out and totally opened her face, but we left these tendrils that are right in front of the ear. So because we dropped this is all connected and this is dropped out. We will visually go in and connect. And there might not be much to even visually connect to, but I'm gonna try to give you this nice angle here. So you can see how this drops out here. I want the length, so I'm not gonna come in from the front and detail it. I'm going to come in from the side because I want to take the weight and connect internally, not along the hairline. But I don't wanna feel like she has all this happening and then this is like a heavy ear, like a dog ear, right? Where it's like this heavy piece. So if we kind of take this section from a different mindset, we shake it out, we kind of see where's the shortest pieces live. Because we know our guideline from when we sectioned it was about here, so there should be a drop. And we're going to visually take the hair, and you can see where it's super heavy because it's all one length. So I see the drop. I want it to be very subtle. I want it to be like chop. I want to barely take a little bit. And it's good to couple the curls together. Sometimes you can even have them move their head so you can see where that drop happens. I'm trying to give you a pretty good visual. You can see that. So when I come in, I'm gonna baby cut, just baby little cuts so it looks kind of cohesive. I'll come in this direction to give you a good view. So my guide is here. The length is here. I'm going to basically take that guide and I'm gonna slowly cut this, but I'm gonna do it in the downward angle. And I'm gonna visually look at what's happening here. See how there's just a little heavy piece here. And I have this like nice heavy tendril falling, which I don't want to touch that. Same thing on this side. There's like a shelf, right? I cut this, I haven't cut this. So I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna just knock it out a little bit. So when you pull it out this way, that corner isn't too disconnected. Now you could totally disconnect it and some people love that. And that will look rad too. This is where the creativity really comes into play. Like this is your haircut. How do you want this to look? Love these little tendrils. Now that looks longer because we've created all this shaping up here. When I connect from the top, when I come back, I like to think about my sectioning that I made. So I made this whole section was going forward. I trimmed that. Now from that piece, this is what I'm going. So if this is where her shortest piece is, I'm just gonna soften that up a little bit. Then I'll take my next section. See, she doesn't really have much to cut because her hair, so I'm just gonna slide through and take some of the weight out of there. She already had a round haircut, so I was basically kind of going in and creating a round haircut on her. So there's not a whole lot. I feel like she's a little denser right where the occipital bone starts. And of course, I don't want her to make her like top heavy like a total mushroom, but I want to blend those lines a little bit more. And I sectioned out the length. So again, I'm just kind of slide cutting through micro cuts to take the weight right where the occipital bone, the high occipital bone is. Okay, now I'm gonna unclip. See, we haven't even touched this down here. Just falls really nicely. Now when I look at that, I'm like, that's cute and it's got a really great shape, but it's so heavy. Like it's just way too heavy. So the length is beautiful. So I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna take weight from the bottom. I love this technique. I use it all the time, especially on big hair like this. Because I want to see separation. I'm going to take about 2 inches across. Okay, I'm going to come in and I like the line, but I want to break that line up. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut out almost like little Christmas trees, like this. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut out little triangles. So it'll maintain length, but it'll create separation. So when we're detailing, we can identify the weight to it. I'm going to come in internally and I'm going to cut like this to create, I'm going to create space. Now that just kind of popped open a little bit. Again, this feels really heavy to me. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna cut. And I'm gonna use that same point and go the other direction. So I'm literally creating space in between. And let's do one more right here. This looks really heavy to me. I'm gonna come in and cut, and I'm gonna cut from the other direction. Again, this created more space. You can see there's a little hole there, and that's exactly what we're creating. We're creating little micro holes. So when she's flat, that she's not like a hard, they want to see tendrils, they want to see separation. And what will happen is when you cut a triangle out of curly hair, it forces these hairs to stick together and to have a really nice tendril because you don't have all the weight in between. So they automatically will come together. I'm going to take about 1 inch, this next section here. Now I love cutting with a razor. And I would totally do this with the razor as well. So again, I'm gonna pull, I'm gonna visualize. I wanna create a hole through the center. But it's not just like we're not doing a chop. We're creating a piece that wants to come together. We're forcing the hair to have to make a decision on where it wants to live, because we've taken some of that out. So now when I twist that tendril is gonna wanna live together, which I just created space. Now if she had color in her hair and multiple colors for like a highlighted look, you'd see a little bit more, but because she's one solid color, she kind of just all blends together. Again, I want to create space in here. Trim that. You could even do it where if you wanted to take a piece and cut both sides in a triangular pattern and maintaining the length. But I like doing it so I know that I'm creating a triangle from side to side. So that's why I choose to do the way I do it. And you can kind of come in and again, cut out some of that weight if it still feels a little heavy. And just a little C shape to create that softness. Not a heavy curl. This is gonna make it wanna bounce, so it will jump up a bit because we were taking weight out of it. You can already see down here how you can kind of see through those curls now. Now here, I'm going to kind of visually take a little weight because I feel like the separation at this point, this is kind of where we dropped everything from that top section. So I'll be taking a little bit. But I feel like I really did the work I wanted to do. Just look at now, even in this camera light, you can see separation in the hair. Where before it just looked like really much heavier. And that's when you come from the side and you visualize, do you like what you see? Do you like those little heavy pieces that kind of hang out? Visually using your eye. I love how that bounces out. Look at those little curls. They're just like coming together, sticking out. Okay, now we can visually see, like, if you want to see where this hair lives and you think, I want to see a little bit more separation, we can kind of come in and intentionally carve out only where you want to carve out. Just a little piece there. This side, I'm just gonna do just a little bit. If this feels too strong of a line, I like to come horizontally on the head. I like to hold my hand out, and I'm going to cut just a couple little V shapes through the top of where it lays down. This is also a great technique on really thick, long hair. And you're doing some of these haircuts and you put those beautiful shape in, but it's just like this solid line. And you're like, I don't want a solid line like it's like a line, right? And then all these layers happening. You want to go in, soften that up. So it doesn't look like a hard line. It just brings it in, knocks it in a little bit, rounds it out, takes off that kind of square edge to it. Just so here and there. Gonna come in and wet her down. All about the scrunching. Really opened up her face. Look how cute that is. Now she's not hiding from all of her curl. Now her curl's making her look better. It's accentuating her cheekbone and her eyes. Now your eyes go to, oh, look how cute that style is. Just create the sweep to it, training those curls to want to go a different direction. Now she looks super modern, super edgy. And we didn't even touch her length. Her length was not part of this haircut. Sometimes you don't touch the length, but yet you transform them utilizing the length.